Guys, it's Keegan. Welcome to the first video here on the new channel. I do just want to say I have an existing YouTube channel. I'm trying something as an experiment at the suggestion of my own guides. If you find me and you know me from my other channel, then I'm glad you found me. And if you're brand new, don't even worry about the other channel right now. We may or may not talk about that here on this channel. So this is the first reading. I'm going to post this on Friday. And Fridays on this channel, from this point moving forward, every Friday I will do by sign, by sun sign. So your sun placement sign, sign specific week ahead reading. So we're going to take a look. I have 3 decks here. I have an oracle deck and then 2 tarot decks. And I'm going to go through each of the 12 signs in order, starting with Aries, working my way through to Pisces. There will be timestamps. And if YouTube works properly, then you should be able on this video, if you're watching from a specific method, you should be able to see little chapters. So you can jump ahead to your sign and watch that. But I do just want to explain before you go what I'm going to be taking a look at. So the first card, the Oracle deck, I'm going to pull a card out, and that's going to be the mantra for the week for your sign. And then we'll take a look at the theme of the week from a tarot card, and then what to pay attention to during the week. And that's all we're going to take a look at. We're covering 7 days. This is going to happen every Friday. My goal for this is to really allow me to have a chance to just check in with you guys weekly, give you a little bit of a peek at what's coming and how to prepare for it. They'll typically be relatively brief, 3 or 4 card readings. I guess if you really wanted to, you can feel free to look at your moon sign or your rising sign as well if you want to get a little bit more insight. That will be fine. But I'm doing these based on sun sign, just for the ease of people being able to find it. So we're going to start with Aries. I'm going to dive right into this. And I pre-shuffled all these decks, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reach in and pull some cards out for Aries. And I'll just do this for each of the signs as we work our way through. Okay. So for Aries, your mantra for this week says, when I focus on my inner light, I see the world through the lens of love. That's the mantra for you to keep with you for this week as it's approaching. Now, the theme for your week, we have the Ace of Swords coming out here. It's upright. What's really interesting about this, I'll tell you, the Ace of Swords, when it's upright, it's really about having like an illuminated moment, having a lot of mental clarity coming through. It can represent a new way of thinking or having like that light bulb moment that goes off inside your head. And I'm really picking that up a lot. This focus on my inner light and being able to use that to see the world through the lens of love, I feel like there's just a huge energy shift approaching for you next week, Aries, where you realize that things aren't necessarily as bad as what you've thought they might have been. You're realizing that when you turn inward and you really focus on what it is that you want, what it is that you feel like you're being drawn towards, what it is that you feel you're desiring. For Aries, one of the things that I love about your sign is that if you feel desire towards a person, desire towards a project, desire towards a job, desire towards, anything, you're going to be devoted to that because that desire is really the drive. So when you tune inward and you focus in on what is it that I'm really wanting, what is it that I'm wanting to share, what is it that I'm wanting to attract, there's this light bulb moment for you where you realize that maybe a little bit of pessimism has snuck in and it's been holding you back, but that clears up next week. Now let's see what you need to pay attention to. 2 of Swords. So we have the Ace of Swords and the 2 of Swords coming out. Blind picks, right? So what is that about? Okay. Well, okay. Let's think about this. The Ace of Swords moving into the 2 of Swords, it's a place where pay attention to where you realize that it's time to make a decision. It's time for you to choose. Or if you find yourself in a place where you're not quite sure what you need to do, you're kind of feeling like going back and forth. You're thinking, okay, I need to make a decision. Is there a way for me to compromise on this? Is there a middle ground? Is it black and white? Is it clear cut? Pay attention to that moment next week. Really pay attention to that because that's a pivotal turning point for you in terms of being able to make the shift out of what feels like it's been a little bit of pessimistic energy and getting that momentum to carry you forward. That moment where you realize, what am I going to do? Really pay attention to that and trust your intuition, trust your gut, focus inward, focus on your own inner light so that you can see what's being illuminated in front of you as being the best path forward so you can have that clarity. Okay, really pay close attention to that. Okay, so Taurus, you're up next. We do the same thing. I'm just going to pull out cards. Taurus. All right. So Taurus, let's see what your mantra for this approaching week is going to be. When I lean on the faith of the universe, peace becomes real. Okay, that's your mantra going into this week. Now, the theme of the week for you is going to be the Five of Swords. Kind of a tricky week for you. Okay, so the Five of Swords is energy where, you know, someone's trying to do something a little bit shady. Someone's trying to be sneaky. Someone's being not above board with you. And I do think that it's going to be very disruptive for you next week. Unfortunately, Taurus, it's going to be something that the week is just, you're going to feel that feeling that something's not going exactly how you know it should be going. It's very interesting to me. For some of you, this is really going to derail you. And I'm really honest. If you aren't familiar with me, I'm a really honest reader. For some of you, this is really going to derail you and you're not going to have a good week because you're not going to do this. You're not going to have faith that the universe is really trying to work something out. And you're going to go into that like stubborn energy that you guys can have sometimes where, you know, you're going to think that you know better. Or you're going to think that you have the answer. You're going to think that you know, you can force this, you can force, or you can like outsmart this person, and you could outsmart this person, but that's not the point of what's going on. That's not the point of it. The point of this is to help you to realize that you can let this go. You can say, I see what you're doing, I'm aware of it, I'm protected. The universe isn't going to let me get derailed. The universe isn't going to let me get screwed over. The universe isn't going to let the game that you're playing affect me in any way. I'm not bothering with you. For those of you who adopt that attitude, this isn't even going to be that big of a deal. But for those of you who get stubborn about it and you kind of want to go tit for tat and you want to retaliate or you want to catch this person red-handed, it's not going to be a good week for you because you're going to get consumed by this. This person, to me, it's feeling a little bit like an energy vampire sort of situation, where they want you to react, they want to suck you in, they want to make you have a bad week. So my advice is to just not engage. Let's see what you need to pay close attention to, though. It's so interesting. 5 and 5. Earlier I had an ace and a 2, and I'm just blindly picking. So 5 of Cups here. This 5 of Cups is reversed. So this is what's really interesting, right? Because I was saying, like, don't engage, right? What they're telling you to really pay attention to next week is that moment, right, where you feel like you can just move on from it, right? Where you realize, you know what, I'm at peace. I'm not looking at the stuff that's not going well anymore. I'm not focusing on that. 5 of Cups, very often people talk about as like the spilled milk card, where, you know, you're focused on what's going wrong and you're not paying attention to the stuff that's still kind of going okay or is going really well. When you have that moment, that's a big turning point for you next week, right? Again, for those of you who don't get triggered by this person's coming in trying to get you to be like in a 5 of Cups. They're coming in with that 5 of Swords. They want you to match them with the 5 of Cups and really just be like, you know, down and out and sad and you know, feeling all the feelings with them. But the universe doesn't want that for you, Taurus. The universe wants you to be able to just move on from this, detach from it, not have it like derail you. Be at peace. Accept for what is. Move on from this. Let this go. Okay, Gemini, you're up next. Mantra card for Gemini. Weekly theme for Gemini. And what to pay close attention to next week for Gemini. Okay, Gemini, your mantra: the universe works fast when I'm having fun. Very true for Geminis. When you guys are focused on fun, you're focused on lightness, you're focused on, you know, enjoying things, you're able to really like manifest a lot. You're able to get a ton of stuff done. You're able to really make movement and have a lot of success. The universe is able to really work with you well when you're focused on fun. When you guys get in that like you know, the twin battle is what I often refer to it as, when you're really in your mind and you're over analyzing things and you're worrying and you're concerned and you're trying to be super detailed and you kind of get caught on that like hamster wheel. it slows everything down so much for you guys. So the more that you can focus on just having fun next week, there's lots of potential for the universe to be able to use that energy and really benefit you. Theme of the week for you, Four of Pentacles. It's upright, really good. Okay. Four of Pentacles is really about like long-term stability. It's about having security. It's about building something that's going to last. What I'm getting intuitively here though is don't let this fun break the bank. Okay, because part of what is also associated with the Four of Pentacles is really about conserving, saving, right? So find some inexpensive fun to have. Find some cheap, have a potluck. Don't go out for a super expensive dinner, but be sure you're having fun, but don't overdo it. I think that's the main theme here is really focus on being able to think about long term. What do you need to accomplish over the next year? What are your goals for the next year? Spend some time next week really thinking about long-term goals, long-term stability, and have that be a process or a project, the way that you're doing it, have it be a fun thing that you're engaging with. Pay close attention, Gemini, to Nine of Wands. It's upright. The Nine of Wands upright, I think it's similar, right, to this Four of Pentacles in terms of energy. The Nine of Wands is about keeping going, having the strength to keep going, being persistent, persevering over things. Boundaries are really coming through here with this Nine of Wands, setting boundaries, knowing what the limits are. What I'll say to you, Gemini, what I feel like is coming through for me intuitively for you guys in terms of a message for next week is I feel like you've been in a space mentally where this notion of planning for the future, thinking about the future, figuring out how to make things be stable and consistent, it hasn't felt fun for you. And because it hasn't felt fun for you, you haven't really made a lot of progress on it. The message coming through for next week is if you can find a way of having fun, of making this planning, spending time next week thinking about future, thinking about planning, thinking about goals, but make it be fun. Maybe involve friends. Maybe have some sort of a thing where a group of people get together and they share like what it is they're working on, and you have a little bit of a social aspect to it so that you're not just in this on your own. You're not just like in your own head trying to think it through. You can have the opinions of others, you can have insight from other people. Really try to pay attention to that, especially when pay close attention, this Nine of Wands, when you feel like you're having to push yourself, when you feel like you're having to, like you're in a moment where you're like, oh, I shouldn't do that. I should, be strong and not do that. Or I should I know that this is a limit that I set. This is a boundary that I set, and I'm not going to cross it. Pay attention to that. And immediately when you feel yourself in that situation, try not to make it be a negative thing. Try not to make it be a bad thing that you're having to deal with. And instead, try to have fun with it, right? So an example I can give you really quickly is, let's say you're trying to save money, right? And then you see like a brand new shiny gadget or a brand new shiny toy that you really want, and it's very expensive, and you want that immediate like boost, right? So instead of saying, well, I can't have that because I can't spend money, and being negative about it, say, you know what, I'm not going to spend money on this because I know in 6 months when I have all this money saved up, I'm going to be able to do this thing that I really want to do. And that's going to be awesome. That's going to be fun. And then give yourself a small treat, right? Like don't deprive yourself completely. So maybe you don't spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on the little gadget that you wanted, but maybe you do. You go and see a movie and have dinner with a friend, right? Allow there to be fun that's happening in this, and don't make everything seem so pessimistic or so like Debbie Downer. All right, Leo, you guys are up next. Again, just going to pull a card out. It's the mantra for the week. Here's your theme of the week. Yeah, what should Leo pay close attention to this week? What card here? All right, Leo, let's see what we have here. Your mantra for the week: I'm unapologetic about what I desire and trust what I focus on will grow. So coming through very clearly for you in terms of the mantra for the week is do you. Do you. Don't be ashamed of what it is that you want. Don't let people talk you out of focusing on what it is that you are hoping to build. Don't buy into any sort of negative thinking. Know that what you're focusing on in your life and what you desire to bring into your life will come to you as long as you put that effort and energy to it. Now, I will say one thing just to be mindful of before I see what else is going on here. If you're focusing on negative things, you're focusing on things that aren't good, you're also going to be able to whip those up really quickly. Okay, so know what it is that you want, trust that you're going to be able to focus and bring it to you. But be mindful of how you're focusing yourself. Okay, focus on really what it is that you want, not the things that you don't want. Theme of the week for Leo, we have the Empress, which is reversed here. Um, Not necessarily a bad card, and I'm going to tell you why. So the Empress reversed, it very often is kind of associated with selfishness, impatience, uh, being, maybe a little bit dependent on other people. But I'm telling you why. I'm going to tell you why I don't think it's a bad theme of the week. Because if this is what your mantra is, right? I'm unapologetic. What I desire, I trust that what I focus, right? It's very selfish. It's very focused on you, very focused on self. So, theme of the week is do that. Allow yourself to be a little bit selfish. Allow yourself to be a little bit impatient with the universe and say, hey, what's the holdup? Why am I not getting the things that I want? I'm focusing on them. I want them. What's the deal? Why is it taking so long? It's okay for you guys, especially I think fire signs in general. It's okay for you guys to get a little bit aggressive, a little bit, hostile with the universe, because then it responds to you. That's part of your language, right? So embrace that this week. Allow that to be something that you're letting happen. And don't judge it, right? Be unapologetically selfish this week. Pay attention to this. Ace of Cups. Um, Pay really close attention to what's presented as new opportunities. You're working and you're really trying to bring things in. You're focusing on things that you want to grow. Pay really close attention when you get a sign that there's the opportunity for something new to happen, whether that's a new opportunity or just for something specific to love. Be on the lookout for a new potential relationship, or a new way of deepening an existing relationship, taking it to the next level. But really, I just feel like this is about opportunity. Really pay attention to the opportunities that are presented to you this week, if you are unapologetically focused on what it is that you want. Really pay attention to when you have opportunities presented to you, because that's the universe saying to you, okay, I heard you. Which do you want, this one or this one? And pay attention to those, and be decisive in saying, I want that one. And then the universe say, great, what about this? You want this or this? That? What about this? Right? Try to maximize how many of these opportunities you're noticing and taking advantage of this week, so you can see what you can actually whip up in just like a 7-day period. All right. Moving on to Virgo. I feel like I skipped somebody. I did. I skipped Cancer. Okay, Cancer. Sorry, you guys are going to be a little bit out of order. Cancer. You know what, Cancer, since I skipped you, there are 3 cards that popped out. I'm just going to take them all because I feel bad. All right, Cancer. Sorry. I was in my head trying to like chant them in my head in order, and I just skipped over you. Cancer. Mantra for the week. I am a spirit having a human experience, and I'm here to get closer to love. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. I want to see what these cards are. Theme for the week. We have the Knight of Wands reversed, the Six of Cups reversed, and then we have the Lovers, which is also coming out reversed. Very interesting. I'm going to talk a little bit about these 2 cards together, but we'll talk about that Knight of Wands first. So, Knight of Wands, when it's reversed, is very much about impulsiveness, chaos. It's about arguments, like way too much sex. I'm just going to say that. Way too much sex. So, Cancer, here's the thing: your spirit having human experience. Your goal here is to get closer to love. This arguing, fighting, lustfulness, chaotic up and down, back and forth, that's not love, right? It's not love. You have the Six of Cups and the Lovers coming out reversed. Okay. So what is this about? Well, Six of Cups is about living in the past when it's reversed, being stuck in the past. Okay. It's not about fun, happy, nostalgic memories of the past. It's being haunted by the past, being stuck in the past. And then you have the Lovers reversed. Very interesting that I said I was going to take all 3 because they go together really well. The Lovers, when it's reversed, this is about knowing when something needs to come to an end, knowing when something is, you know, it's honestly, it's about a breakup. It's about things coming to a close. It's about fighting. It's about things not being like they're being like disruptive forces in terms of a relationship. I feel like the theme of the week is really going to be kind of harsh for you. But if you can remember this, right, that this is just part of the human experience, it's just part of it. I feel like this is representative of things really coming to a head next week. Potentially, maybe for some of you, it's just about an awareness starting to bubble to the surface, but it feels really intense to me. So I feel like this is that moment where everything comes to a head and some decision is made. So let's see, what's the moment to pay attention to for next week? High Priestess. Perfect. High Priestess represents divine feminine energy. It's about trusting your intuition, really knowing what the divine truth of a situation is. Um, just knowing that, knowing you will know. Okay. There'll be a moment next week where you know. And if you pay attention to it, if you trust your intuition about all of this stuff that's here in the theme of the week, and you say, my goal is to get closer to love. My intuition is telling me how to get closer to love, and it's to not engage in this anymore. Not to dwell on the past, not to deal with this relationship that isn't going the way it is, not to get caught up in the sex, and not to confuse fighting and anger with passion and connection. Okay, not necessarily the best. I almost feel like you guys wanted me to skip you. I'm gonna blame you for that instead of me. And what's funny is I have a list in front of me too. I just wasn't paying attention to it because I was like, I don't need to do that. Now we can do Virgo. Virgo mantra of the week. Virgo theme for the week. And pay close attention to this. Hey, Virgos, let's see. Your mantra is, I always trust the direction of the universe and know I'm being guided. All right. This is your mantra. I don't think this is your default setting because you guys are not necessarily the most trusting sign. You don't like being guided. You don't like taking things on face value. You don't like the, trusting in the universe. I deal with that pushback a lot from Virgos. So your mantra for this week, Virgo, is to go against what is default for you. Trust the direction that the universe is trying to take you in. Know that you're being guided. Know that they're trying to help you. It's funny for me with Virgos because you guys want so much to do things the right way, to have success, to not mess up. This is the easiest way to do it, guys. Let the universe take care of that. The universe has access to so many things and so many uh, points of view and perspectives that we don't have. And so if you can trust that the universe is trying to say, look, I know you want the easiest, best way and you want to have success here. Let me guide you. Let it happen. Theme of the week is we have the Eight of Cups, which is reversed. So the Eight of Cups is this is an interesting thing because the Eight of Cups is really about being in a place where we're actually really starting to learn from the past. We might not be that sure about what the future holds, right? We might not be clear about what the future holds. But the theme, I think, of the week is really about you reflecting back. And it seems to be tied to, if you can reflect back to where you were, let's say 6 months ago, and where you are next week. What's happening? What's changed? What's the same? Where are you stuck? Where have you made progress? If you can look at the things that have gone well or the things where you've made progress and realize that the universe was really kind of holding your hand through all of that, I think it helps you to really be able to start to embrace that as more of a habit of realizing, wow, you know what? If I think about it, 6 months ago, I didn't think this would ever play out the way that it did, but it did. And so I know there had to be divine guidance in that. So I want to learn how to trust in that more. I want to be able to learn what it is that I need to learn. The other thing that I think is going to come into play for you next week is something that you really wanted to work out isn't going to, and it doesn't mean that will never work out, but it's just the timing on that isn't quite right. There's some issue with timing that's coming through for me energetically, and it's really important for you to realize that the timing isn't right because it's not supposed to be right now. It's supposed to happen at a later date. It will be better. It will be more optimal later. And that's why it's not happening now. Pay attention to this. Five of Wands. Five of Wands is upright here. Pay really close attention to people who are trying to get what you have. The Five of Wands is very much associated with competition and rivals, people who are coming in to challenge you and try to take what's yours. Pay really close attention to that because I feel like someone is going to, those two things could be tied together. When I was saying the timing isn't right, someone might be trying to sabotage something or somehow come in to cause a problem because of jealousy or envy or something like that. And if you can be aware of that and kind of like let them do what they're going to do to derail things, because you know it's better if this gets derailed now because it's going to be better later. And I feel like if you let that happen, then this person actually kind of it doesn't work out the way they think it's going to. They kind of get like stuck like holding the bag. And it's clear that they were the problem. They were the holdup. And eventually, if you let the universe guide you, this thing gets removed, and then this has its own moment later, right? Where it's able to work. But the timing on this isn't right, and there's someone doing something to try to like either force it to happen when they know that the timing isn't right so that it blows up and you get blamed for it, or they're just trying to derail it and they don't realize that pausing it or causing it to be delayed is actually going to be good for you. But as long as you can trust the universe, Virgo, you're going to be okay regardless, right? So it's really important for you not to like force anything or try to like second guess how things are playing out next week. Okay, Libra. See what we have for Libra. Okay, mantra for Libra for the week. I do whatever it takes to get closer to consciousness. Libra, I think what's coming through here in terms of next week for you, and I love you guys as a sign. I really, really do. But you know, sometimes you guys can get a little bit checked out. You don't want things to be overly serious. You don't want to be in your head. You don't want to think about things. You just want to kind of have fun and be a little bit flighty. And you know, that's fine occasionally, not for next week. Next week, you really do need to be kind of in your mind. You need to be conscious and aware. You need to be present. You need to do whatever you need to do to really kind of buckle down and be in your head a little bit. Is something about next week is kind of requiring that. So let's see what the theme is for the week. Wheel of Fortune. Wow. Okay, Libra. The good thing is, right? Upright. Things are going to be fine. Good fortune. But the Wheel of Fortune always represents something closing out, something having a turning point, something kind of, you know, there's a very unpredictable nature to this card in general. It's good that it's upright because it means things are going to go okay. But this makes sense why you have to really be like in your mind. You have to be aware. You can't go through next week with your head in the clouds. You can't go through next week kind of like focused on, you know, the fun, focused on like those things. You have to buckle down next week. You have to be serious. But the good thing is the Wheel of Fortune is showing up, which means it's done next week. It closes out whatever this is, whatever this moment is for you. You know, it happens and you deal with it and it works out fine in the end. But it's a little bit disruptive and it does require you to really be present for it. Pay attention. You have the Knight of Wands coming out here in terms of, you know, pay attention to this. You know, the Knight of Wands is very interesting. I think this came out a little bit earlier for another sign. The Knight of Wands, the energy of that card when it's reversed is very chaotic. Okay, it's very impulsive, and impatient energy. There's also associations with, you know, fighting and anger and having disagreements and arguments that are associated with the Knight of Wands because it's this very passionate, fiery energy that's upside down and is kind of a little bit immature. It's a knight, not a king, right? So pay close attention to when things get very chaotic. In that moment where things are getting very chaotic, you're in the middle of this. You're in the middle of this process. The middle of this Wheel of Fortune is going to feel very chaotic to you. It's going to feel very much like, oh my gosh, I want this to be done. And you're going to have this moment of wanting to just impulsively try to make a decision. But you can't do that. You have to be very conscious and aware of what's happening around you in this week and allow things to close out on their own. Don't get sucked into the in the middle of it. Don't try to close it out in the middle. It'll close when it's ready to close out. and it's not going to last for forever. It's literally going to close out next week. Scorpio, you guys are up next. Mantra for the week. Theme of the week. And pay close attention to this for Scorpio. Hi, Scorpios. I'm also a fellow Scorpio, if you don't know me. So your mantra for the week, it says, the moment I embrace my peace within and surrender the outcome is the moment that the universe can truly get to work. So Scorpio, next week is the time for you to let go of whatever it is you've been trying to force to happen. It's causing you a lot of disruptive energy internally. You really do need to embrace having some peace inside of you, surrender the outcome. Don't get caught up in what it is that you were hoping to make happen. Because here's the thing. You might be trying next week to make $500. Just going to make something up, right? And that's your goal, and you're focused on it, and you're like, if I don't make $500 next week, then it's going to be bad. I'm going to fail. Like you're not at peace. If you can surrender and find peace and say to the universe, look, you know what I need. You know what my needs are. I know what my needs are. You know what my needs are. Make it happen. Let the universe do the work. Okay? Theme of the week for you, Scorpio. We have the Queen of Pentacles, which is reversed. Funny, okay? Queen of Pentacles reversed is very much about like, sometimes it's associated with things like greed, envy. It's about being financially dependent. It's about not having like a desire to be like connected, right? The Queen of Pentacles, when it's upright, is very much like a connected, nurturing, like domestic sort of thing. And this is none of that. Okay. Theme of the week for you is really about not committing to anything that's going to like tie you down. And I hate using that phrase tie you down because like I don't mean like being like a mom or a wife or having a family is like being tied down, but it's like you have to surrender everything. That's what they're saying. Surrender it all. Any obligations that you have next week, if you can let them go, if you can plan ahead so that you can free up time, right? So that you can be a little bit focused on you, right? More so than anything, what's coming through from this card is that greedy energy. And I feel like it's fine. It's Scorpio season when I'm doing this. If you find it later, ignore that. But I'm just telling you, if you watch it when I post it, we're in Scorpio season. So being a little bit greedy and focused on yourself, it's fine, right? Especially if your birthday happens to be next week and you're watching this when I post it, like allow yourself to really like be a little bit greedy. Okay. Dream big is another thing that's coming through. And I'm saying that because like surrender the outcome. I feel like you've been playing it a little bit small. Like interjecting, I feel like you've been playing a little bit small. And so being a little bit greedy and asking for more, wanting more, requesting more, it's kind of a good time to do it. It's your season. Okay. Pay close attention to this. 7 of Swords coming out here. It's upright. So here's what you can't do, Scorpio. There'll be a moment in the week that's approaching you where you're really, really tempted to just kind of try to like just flee, just run away, shirk all responsibilities, try to just get away from it without having to do any of the work that you actually have to do. And I think what's coming through here is that Scorpio, where you've been focusing your efforts, where you've been focusing your mind in terms of like, this is what needs to happen, this is what needs to happen, it's been based on kind of like scarcity, okay, and fear. And so when you get to that point where you feel next week like, oh, I just want to just hide out, I just want to run away, I don't want to have these responsibilities, I just want to like, throw all this stuff away and not have to deal with it. If you can shift that instead and say, no, you know what, that's not what I truly want. I want to be able to focus on me. I want to be able to focus on my needs. I want to be able to ask for what I want. And I'm just going to surrender that to the universe so they can make it happen. If you can find that balance, right, between not running away, not trying to take like full control and being like neurotically obsessive about things, not selling yourself short, asking for more. It's an interesting dynamic that's happening here where it's the universe is asking you next week to really be able to express what it is that you need and to ask for more than what you need so that you have some wiggle room, you have some breathing space, right? You're not just meeting your bare minimum. You're meeting what you need and then some, so that you can then start to dream a little bit bigger and hope for a little bit more. This greediness is not a bad thing here. It's fine. You know, if your whole life is greedy, focused on you, then that's a problem. But if it's just a week where you're focusing on things and being a little bit greedy and selfish, go for it. Sagittarius, let's see what's coming through for you guys. Mantra for the week. Theme of the week. Pay close attention to this. Sagittarius, your mantra: I create mindful moments throughout the day, reminding myself that I am love and miracles are natural. So, uh, of this card, I am love and miracles are natural, very Sagittarian energy. Mindful moments throughout the day, that's the challenge for you, I think. You know, what I love about the sign of Sagittarius is it's very free spirit energy. It's very adventurous energy. It's very much like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? This is really calling for you. The mantra of the week is being mindful of, throughout the day, several times a day, bringing yourself into the present. What's happening right now? You know, what is the truth of the situation? Not being so far into the future and chasing after the next thing next week that you're not really rooted in the present. Theme of the week for you: we have the star card showing up reversed here. The star card reversed, it's not necessarily the greatest energy for you guys, honestly. You know, the star card, it's a lot of like discouraged energy. It's not really having faith that things are going to go the way that you want, feeling a little bit insecure about where you are in a situation, what's happening. There's a little bit of depressed energy, depression energy. You might actually next week be dealing with an illness. The star card reverse can often represent like illness, health, illness, or not feeling at your best. The other thing with the star card that can sometimes come to play here is just feeling like you don't have a lot of attention on you, feeling ignored or feeling neglected. And that, if that's the theme of the week and your mantra is to try to stay mindful during that, that's going to be a challenge for you guys, because you don't want to exist in this. You guys want to be happy, you want to have fun, you want to be on an adventure, and dealing with this, you know, is not fun. But this is purposeful, right? Especially if you do end up sick next week, or you just don't feel at your best, or you feel a little bit depressed. It's the universe trying to slow you down because you guys are very active and you're very high energy as a sign. And so sometimes the universe has to really just like empty the gas tank to put you in a place where it can have you be present in what is, because that's a connection point. Being present with the universe is a connection point. So even if it's not the best week, still try to be mindful every day, bringing yourself into the present. Pay close attention to this. Three of Pentacles. Three of Pentacles is up right here. You know, the Three of Pentacles is really about, you know, where we're collaborating with other people, where, you know, we're part of a team. It's also about getting good results at the end of something coming to a completion. So pay close attention to that. You know, if you know, I'm not trying to wish ill will on the Sagittarians who are watching this, but I do feel like there's illness. They keep saying like, and I don't think it's anything serious, but I just think you're not going to feel good. You're not going to feel at your best. You're not going to feel optimal. And paying attention to like where you have people who are supporting you, where you have people who are showing up for you, or asking for people to show up for you, I think is kind of the theme. When you realize, hey, gosh, you know, it would be so nice if I had somebody that, you know, could just bring me soup. If you have that person, be grateful about that person. If you don't have those people in your life, maybe that's the lesson here for next week, is realizing, hey, you know what, I can't always be chasing the next thing, because then I don't have any stability, I don't have any consistency in terms of the people who are in my life. Okay, moving on from Sagittarius, we're going to Capricorn next. Capricorns, let's pull your card. We have your mantra for the week, theme of the week, and pay close attention to this. Capricorns, mantra for the week is: true healing occurs when I give myself permission to feel whatever feelings live below the trigger. I love this card. It's one of my favorite cards from this deck, because I think that it is, um, it's just, it's something that's so awesome when we can manage to do it. We get triggered all the times, and a lot of times we count those triggers as our feelings, or as our emotions, but they're just triggers. And if we can actually focus and feel what's underneath those triggers, why does it trigger us? Why does it trigger us? What is the thing that causes the trigger? That's where a lot of healing can occur. So great mantra for you guys for the week. Theme of the week for you is around the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles is an awesome card because it's really about being generous. It's about giving and being willing to receive in kind. So with these two cards, what I would say for you, Capricorn, is it's probably hard for you to receive, and for some of you, it might actually be hard for you to give freely, right? To be generous with your time, generous with your money, generous with your emotions. It can be maybe a little bit hard for you to do that. Okay, because we're talking about healing and triggers and what's underneath those triggers. So the theme of the week is really going to be about you being put in situations where there's give and take, where there's give and receiving, where you have to tolerate um, things feeling like they're balanced. The great thing about Capricorns is you guys are so driven and you're so um motivated, and there's so much success that comes from that. But a lot of times Capricorns can adopt this philosophy where it's almost like they are doing it on their own. They only count on themselves. And I think what's happening here is you have to ask yourself, well, why am I like that? Why am I so fiercely independent? Why am I so uncomfortable when someone does something nice for me? Why am I so uncomfortable asking for help? Why does it bother me so much if somebody, points out that I'm being generous, right? If I'm being generous to someone and they highlight it or they point it out, why do I get uncomfortable with that? Pay close attention to, we have the Two of Pentacles reversed here. So, if you feel like you are in a place where you're getting overwhelmed, you feel like you're struggling, you feel like you can't do what you normally do and commit to like a path and commit to a plan and move yourself forward, Capricorn, pay close attention to that because it's a place where you're being triggered, right? Pay attention to it's pretty simple, but it's true. Pay attention to the places where you're getting triggered, because if you can do that, if you can acknowledge the trigger and then ask yourself, why does that trigger me? Where does that stem from? What's underneath that? What's the cause of that? Lots of good can come from that, just from that simple exercise. And you can make a lot of progress just during the course of a week from asking that question. Okay, Aquarius. All right. Aquarius, your mantra for the week. Through prayer and meditation, I create a ripple effect of peace in the world. Okay. I want to take a look and see what the theme is. King of Swords. Okay. So Aquarius, I'm going to start actually with this King of Swords energy because I think that's really the most important thing. The theme of the week for you, Aquarius, is really about being strategic with your thoughts, being honest with your thoughts, thinking about the problems that exist and figuring out solutions for them. It's about being in a place where um, you're using your mind in a good way. You're using your mind to solve problems, not to like worry about them, right? The easiest way for you to get into the right mindset is through prayer and meditation, or whatever you want to call it, right? But it's getting your mind in the right place so that you are thinking about things through an optimistic filter. You're thinking about things through a positive filter. You're looking at things, and if something's not working, if something's going wrong, then you're trying to figure out how to move beyond that. You're being very strategic and trying to figure out solutions. Okay. Pay close attention to this, the Fool. So the Fool card here, I actually really like it here because the Fool is about new beginnings. It's about new paths and new opportunities. It's about taking chances and having hope and positivity, right? So really pay attention to moments where you feel drawn towards something without really being able to explain why, right? Use that energy, that full energy, to propel you into to being able to make really good decisions, because here the Fool is really about your feelings, your emotions, and your intuition. The King of Swords is very much about your mind. So the thing for next week is, if you can get your mind centered, you can really have this long lasting ripple effect of bringing some peace into your life and into your existence, because your mind and your soul and your intuition and your feelings are all kind of aligning next week in this really powerful way. And I feel really good about this. This is probably my favorite spread from this reading because this just feels like there's so much potential for a lot of growth and change for you guys. All right, Pisces, you guys are last here. I will make sure that timestamps allow you guys to skip ahead. You don't have to watch all the way through to find you. Um, so I'll always put timestamps on these so you guys have them. All right. I'm going to clear these cards out of the way since Pisces, you're my last ones that I'm reading for here. It's Pisces, your mantra for the week. My vibes speak louder than my words. Let's get some additional insight into that. We'll loop back to it. Full card coming out for you as the theme of the week. I just had the full card pop out from the other deck for Aquarius, but let's talk about the full card. Full card is great because it's about renewed hope, new hope in a situation, being willing to take a chance on something, new adventures being presented to you, opportunities being presented to you, being able to be spontaneous in situations, really embracing that energy is the theme of the week. Pay really close attention to, we have the Page of Pentacles, which is reversed. The Page of Pentacles reversed is really about things where we're not willing to put in the work, we're not willing to put in the effort, we're being a little bit lazy, we're a little bit checked out. We're letting opportunities pass us by because we're not really wanting to put in the effort. Okay, so pay close attention. These, in all honesty, right? My vibes speak louder than my words, Pisces. So if you're saying, right, you're saying, I'm willing to try new things. I'm willing to be spontaneous. I'm willing to take chances. I'm willing to go on new adventures. I'm willing to let hope come back into life. But your actions aren't aligned to that, right? Your vibes, your action. If you're lazy and you're not willing to engage and you're not really willing to do what you need to do and you're allowing opportunities to sort of pass you by left and right because you're not actually like embracing them or engaging with them, pay attention to that. The message coming through for you next week is really about you becoming self-aware of what you're saying, right, versus what you're doing, and how there's a little bit of a conflict there. So your vibes, your actions, what you're actually doing, how you're feeling, that matters way more than what you're saying next week. And the more that you can lean into being willing to engage, being willing to start new things and go on new adventures and embrace things and be a little bit spontaneous, the better the week is going to go for you. So I don't know who's going to be here for the end of this. I'll keep it brief. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please take a moment to subscribe. Share this video with your friends so they can get insight into their week that's coming as well. Please leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys thought. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you for one of the other readings next week, or if you only tune in for Fridays for my week ahead readings, I will see you next Friday to take a look at the week that is approaching. Bye.